In all the history of Scotland, St Margaret stands out as a real jewel in the crown. She was born around 1,000 years ago, not in Scotland, but in Hungary. Later on, she came to Scotland to marry the King of the Scots, Malcolm III, who was known as quite a brutish man. And Margaret's gentleness seemed to win him over and actually change him, soften his own heart. And they had a wonderful marriage, blessed by 8 children. And Margaret was known as a loving and a wise mother to her children. She was also known for other reasons as well. She was a great reformer of the church here in Scotland. She set herself to the task of establishing new churches and new monasteries and convents. It was very much on her agenda in the royal court to strengthen the Christian heritage of this country. And remember, we're talking in the times before the Reformation, when Scotland was united in its Catholic faith. But Margaret is known above all for another legacy. Although she rose to be the queen of this country and lived behind the walls of a palace, she was known every day to leave the palace gates, to enter the streets around the palace, and to feed the poor. She was a woman who, though she rose through the social ranks, she never left the poor behind. And yesterday I was speaking a fair bit about this very idea of sometimes how we can become blind to the poor around us. Margaret was a woman, though she held this high office, she understood the first commitment of a Christian, which is to look after those who need an extra help. Perhaps we could learn from her example today. We're about to enter a period of Advent leading up to Christmas, a time that is very often marked with excesses. How important it is that we as individuals, as families, and as a community, that we don't leave the poor behind. That we don't stay within the walls of our own homes and say, well, I'm comfortable. Look at me. We have to go outside of our own walls and to recognize the need that everywhere surrounds us. So even if we get on in life and we go through the social classes and all the rest of it, how important that we don't leave behind those who are most